nation, one election under the leadership of the former President Ram Nath Kovind. What we are given to understand is that the committee is set to examine various points of view and then submit its report to the centre. Now, do remember that there has been speculation about the fact that the centre could introduce the One Nation, One Election bill in the special session of Parliament that has been called. The special session was called yesterday by the Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Prahlad Joshi, from the 18th to the 22nd of September. Essentially, we're given to understand that Ram Nath Kovind, the former president, will be heading this panel. It will also have other people in the panel. There is talk of the fact that there could be retired judges in the panel. Now, the idea of One Nation, One Election essentially refers to holding simultaneous elections across the country. This obviously does mean that the Lok Sabha as well as the state assemblies will go into polls simultaneously with the voting taking place at the same time. One would presume that. But just to give viewers a sense of what's coming up next in terms of elections across the country. Now, do remember that this bill that is being proposed will be coming just months before the scheduled assembly elections in 5 states. That's Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana and Mizoram later this year. Then there are the Lok Sabha elections, which are due to be held in the first half of next year. And towards the end of the year, there are going to be 7 states. That's at the end of 2024 I'm talking about. Where there are going to be elections in 7 states. These are the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the centre did say yesterday in court that it is very keen to hold elections, but it's up to the Election Commission of the centre and the state to schedule polls. Apart from other of course, other states that will be going to the polls next year is Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Odisha, Sikkim, Haryana, Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Now, this is not the first time that the Prime Minister has spoken about One Nation, One Election. He has in the past said many times that the continuous cycle of election results in politics is seen to be something where development work essentially suffers. He's also said that frequent polls hamper development work and make people impute political motives at every step of a government. So what we are given to understand is that this is something that has been on the government's agenda for a while now. And as we were saying, that the Prime Minister has repeatedly spoken about this in the past. So whether this special session will deal with One Nation, One Election, we don't know so far. But what we don't know at this point in time is that there is a committee that has been formed and that is going to be led by the former President Ram Nath Kovind. And we are also getting some information that seems to suggest that there will be 2 retired judges on the panel. Now, this panel is going to look at this and then submit its report to the centre. Now, even as news of this special session came out yesterday, the Congress MP Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has said that they believe that this is a reaction that is coming from the BJP to the India alliance that has been formed. Let's go across to Niranjan. Narayan Swamy joins me on the phone line. Niranjan, good morning. Niranjan, give us more details of this panel that has been formed by the centre. We know at the moment that Ram Nath Kovind, the former president, heads it.
Thanks, Nupur, this is a significant development. There's so much of a chatter, we can't confirm any of that. It's of course still in the realm of speculation whether One Nation, One Poll will be a reality. But I think on the back of that speculation, the move certainly adds to what has been widely speculated, and you've seen a lot of reactions all of yesterday about One Nation, One Election. It appears that there are serious steps now being taken in that direction, and perhaps and this is completely source-based. I'm not confirming that. We're hearing that there is a panel that will be set up, and that the former president will be a part of that panel. Now, this is what we know, but I think there is a sense of panic in the opposition camp because many of them are not on board. Many of them saying, have raised their objections, but the entire effort has been to sort of save resources. We know that India, a country with a non-stop election cycle, sees elections every year, at least once or twice a year when states go to polls. And in the wake of that, there is a serious attempt to sort of save resources, save money, because the elections mean money, resources being allotted. And in that front, simultaneous elections would mean in one shot, you have the general elections, you have all the state elections, and this is something that the opposition is not very happy about, and they've been talking about it, saying that it's a violation of the constitution, etc., etc. So we need to sort of wait and watch to see where this goes. But we are hearing that this committee that has now been formed, it's been formed under the centre's mandate, and it is a committee for one nation, one election, and it is under the leadership of former President Ram Nath Kovind. But just looking at a cursory look at what the details we have. Indicates that, if a committee has...
All right, Niranjan, I'm afraid I'll have to interrupt you there. I'll come back to you. But Mr. Sirsa from the BJP on the phone line with us. Mr. Sirsa, good morning. Mr. Sirsa, what we are being told right now, of course, is that this panel is being set up by the government to look into this. But the opposition, Mr. Sirsa, seems to suggest that there, as Rahul Gandhi said yesterday, that there is a bit of panic. But on the other side, Mr. Sirsa, if this were to happen, it would pave the way for a lot of, governance issues actually to take center stage rather than political parties continuously being in this, cycle of going from one election to the other.
So one nation, one elections means you are saving tons of money, the millions of rupees, which is a government to provide a government infrastructure, to provide a security. At the same time, there is an election every 3 to 6 months in this nation. A couple of months back, in fact, 2 months back, we just had seen the election in Karnataka. In next 3 months, we'll see election there, another 3 elections. Thereafter, there will be a Lok Sabha. Thereafter, there will be a Haryana election, there are Rajasthan elections. So, continuously, the election process is going, and most of the resources are wasted. Not just the money invested in the election through the government, maybe for protection, for providing infrastructure, but also most of the time the governance is suffered by this. Reason being, there is either election code of conduct or most of the people are busy with these elections. I think it will be one of the important change in this nation, which will give a drastic change, and it will be beneficial not for just coming days, but for years and years of people. So I must appreciate this kind of a mood. It is not against any political party. Every political party has the right to contest the election. The only thing is that rather than contesting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elections in a year, you will be saving everything from resources, from political resources, from financial resources, from government resources, and also at the same time, a good governance could be given to the nation.
All right, Mr. Sirsa, thank you for joining us. So the argument that has been put forward, of course, in favor of this is that it will essentially save a lot of money apart from administrative machinery. Let's also go across on the phone line to Acharya Pramod Krishnan. He's a senior Congress leader. He's joining us on it. Mr. Acharya Krishnan, thank you very much for speaking to us on Republic TV. Now, how do you, as a politician of the Congress party, as basically one of the opposition parties, at this point view this? Now, there have been a lot of arguments that have been made in favor of one nation, one election.
देखिए, इसमें कोई ये सवाल नहीं है कि कौन कांग्रेस पार्टी का है, कौन पक्ष का है, कौन विपक्ष का है, कौन सत्ता में है, कौन सत्ता के खिलाफ है। इस कमेटी के गठित करने के पीछे 2 कारण नजर आते हैं। एक कारण है नेशनल इंटरेस्ट, दूसरा कारण है पॉलिटिकल इंटरेस्ट। तो अगर हम नेशन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखें तो ये फैसला अच्छा होगा, क्योंकि देश के अंदर अगर एक ही साथ चुनाव हो जाएगा तो ये इससे हमारे देश का जो एक तरह से संसाधन है, तमाम धन है, पैसा है, और ये जो छोटी छोटी राजनीतिक चीजें चलती रहती हैं, उससे देश को थोड़ा सा ये फायदा होगा। और राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर, नेशनल लेवल पर एक ही साथ चुनाव हो जाएगा तो फिर सारी जो असेंबलीज हैं, विधानसभा, स्टेट के जो गवर्निंग बॉडी हैं वो, और नेशन की जो गवर्निंग बॉडी है वो एक साथ ही काम करेंगे। क्योंकि इसमें होता क्या है कि राज्य में कहीं चुनाव हो रहा है, उसकी योजनाएं का उनको टाइम कितना मिला, सेंटर की योजनाओं का जो टाइम है, पीरियड है, वो कब लागू हुई। तो कभी कभी क्या होता है कि देश की सरकार आज बनी है, 1 महीने बाद जो है जो स्टेट की गवर्नमेंट बदल गई या स्टेट की गवर्नमेंट अभी बनी है, फॉर्म हुई है, उसने अपनी पॉलिसी लागू की तो सेंटर की गवर्नमेंट बदल गई, तो उससे क्या है कि डेवलपमेंट पर असर पड़ता है। तो एक जो नेशनल इंटरेस्ट के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हम देखा जाए, यानी कि इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ नेशन, तो ये फैसला सही हो सकता है, सही होगा। दूसरा इसका पॉलिटिकल पहलू है, राजनीतिक पहलू। इसमें सरकार ने जो फैसला लेने की सोची है और कमेटी बनाई है, तो पहली बात तो इसमें है कि फॉर्मर प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया को कमेटी का अध्यक्ष बनाया है, जैसा सूचना मुझे मिल रही है। तो ये मुझे याद नहीं आता कि देश का कोई पूर्व राष्ट्रपति किसी कमेटी का अध्यक्ष रहा होगा। दूसरा है कि वो दलित कम्युनिटी से आते हैं और बहुत ही शालीन स्वभाव के हैं, तो उन पर कोई क्वेश्चनेबल, उनको कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं कर सकता है, क्योंकि अगर कोई कहेगा जी रामनाथ कोविंद जी के अध्यक्षता में कमेटी बनाई है तो ये हमारे को नुकसान कर सकती है या फायदा कर सकती है, तो ये सरकार के हक में जा रही है बात। तीसरा इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट ये है कि अगर नेशनल लेवल पे एक ही इलेक्शन होगा तो उसका फायदा ऑटोमेटिकली इस समय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को होगा, क्योंकि जो विपक्ष है, जो विपक्षी एकता के लिए INDIA का गठन हो रहा है, वहाँ ऐसे राज्यों के नेता हैं जहाँ उनको एक दूसरे का विरोध करना है, लेकिन नेशनल लेवल पे वो नरेंद्र मोदी जी के खिलाफ एक हो रहे थे। तो पॉलिटिकली एडवांटेज, राजनीतिक फायदा जो है वो मोदी को होगा। प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी की जो छवि है वो नेशनल छवि है, और जब वो राष्ट्रीय इलेक्शन के साथ स्टेट का इलेक्शन होगा तो उसका जो फायदा होगा वो बीजेपी को होगा। इसलिए मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि ये कमेटी का जो गठन है, ये कहा तो जा रहा है कि हम ये देश के हित में कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये पॉलिटिकल हितों को साधने के लिए किया गया है।
Right. So Acharya Pramod Krishnan from the Congress Party, thank you for joining us. The Congress essentially, and Acharya Krishnan essentially saying that he believes that while this is in the favor of the country as a whole, this is a move that seems politically motivated. Now, we are going to try and go across for more political views on this, but just to tell our viewers what has happened to this morning. Now, a committee has been formed to look at one nation, one election. This is going to be headed by the former President Ram Nath Kovind. It will be examining views of various political parties as well as talking to people from various spheres and then essentially giving out its views. Now, what we have seen yesterday, of course, is the talk of the central government looking at introducing the One Nation, One bill during the Parliament's special session that is slated to be held from the 18th to the 22nd of September. Prime Minister Modi, of course, has been pushing this idea to hold assembly and general elections simultaneously. The move, the government says, will bring down the cost of holding elections and also save time for governance. Now, even as this happens, we are given to understand that there are several local political parties, regional political parties which are opposed to the move because they think that if there is one election there is a simultaneous election held in these state assemblies as well as the centre, it is something that will be advantageous to big national parties, not essentially to local and regional parties. And what we are also given to understand is that this suggestion of this one election through the nation comes right ahead of the scheduled assembly elections in 5 states, that's Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana and Mizoram, that go to the polls later this year. Next year, of course, in the first half, we are likely to see the elections the general elections. I think we've also got TKS Ellen Govind from the DMK joining us right now. Mr. Ellen Govind, thank you very much for speaking to us on Republic TV. Good morning. Mr. Ellen Govind, how do you see this move by the centre? Now, there are several regional outfits that seem to argue that this is something that is going to be benefiting large national parties. Is that something that the DMK also endorses?
No, it is impossible. What I see is when in 1996 we know that the Parliament, after 2 years, Parliament was dissolved and there was an election to the Parliament. In 1998 there was an election. In 1999 there was an election to Parliament. So when Parliament gets dissolved, will all the assemblies will be dissolved and every state has to go for polls? Is it possible? See, they consider they don't care about the states, but when parliament gets dissolved, loses majority, the ruling party loses majority. What happened in 1999? There was a no confidence motion and the government was removed. Vajpayee government was removed. So when at that time, do they expect all the states to dissolve their assemblies and go for elections? This is impossible. There is a lot of problems will be created in this, and it will increase the electoral expenditure in the country. So this is not a practical thing. States are separate units and the union is a separate unit. So they should have elections as per the terms of those assemblies. When one assembly is dissolved, will they expect the government to keep the assembly for 5 years without election? Is it possible? Then what is the rule of the people here? What is democracy there? If one assembly gets dissolved because of want of a majority, will they dissolve all the parliament and other state assemblies and conduct elections? This is a whim. I don't know what kind of an idea this is. It is an impossible idea, and you cannot put any state without election like what they are doing in Kashmir. Kashmir was divided, but there was no election so far. So people's mandate is not there in Kashmir. It is the central government which is ruling the state, and it is wrong. So we are not in favor of this.
Right, Mr. Ellen Govind, so essentially you think that this is something which is going to be difficult to carry out because, experts point that about 5 constitutional recommendations and amendments will be required for something like this to come to fruition?
Definitely. You cannot extend the period of assembly or parliament beyond 5 years. And if you are going to extend it, and if there is one assembly dissolved, then what will happen to the other states? Will they dissolve that also? That is the question. So one election, one nation, one election is an impossible thing and unwanted against the people's wishes. It is against the people's wishes.
Right, Mr. Ellen Govind.
They can easily dissolve DMK and will not conduct elections for 4 or 5 years. What will happen?
And that's something, as you're pointing out, that has happened in the past as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the DMK leader over there pointing out that simultaneous elections for state assemblies and Lok Sabha assemblies were actually the norm till 1967 in India. However, things changed when some legislative assemblies were dissolved prematurely in 1968, 69 and Lok Sabha in 1917. So the DMK's point of view over there, of course, is that this is politically motivated and it's going to be very difficult to carry out in terms of the constitutional amendments that will be needed for this. But do remember that the Prime Minister has been batting for this from about 2016. It was in that year that the Niti Aayog prepared a working paper on the proposal for simultaneous elections. In 2018, the Law Commission actually did some work on it and had at that point said that 5 constitutional recommendations would be required to hold simultaneous elections. So this is not the first time that this has been floated. The Prime Minister has been an advocate of one nation, one election. And the key point that, the Prime Minister makes is that it will give more time for work to be done. I think we've got Shakti Singh from the RJD also joining us on the phone line. Shakti Singh, good morning. Thank you for speaking to us on Republic TV. How do you see this one nation, one election that has been floated? Now, we are given to understand that this morning a panel has been formed. Does the RJD support this idea?
नुपुर सबसे बड़ी बात इसमें यह है कि ये अभी आधिकारिक कोई बातें नहीं आ रही, जो भी आ रही है सोर्स करके आ रही है, सूत्र करके आ रही है और हमें लगता है ये हेडलाइन मैनेजमेंट है। इंडिया की जो बैठक हो रही है इसको लेकर के एक डाइवर्सन है। जब तक इसकी पुष्टि नहीं हो जाती है कि कमेटी गठित अगर रामनाथ कोविंद जी के नेतृत्व में करनी है, क्या इसके अधिकारिक ऐलान सरकार ने किया? ये सब सूत्रों के हवाले से खबर है। मैं कल भी देखा कई चैनलों पर लगाया कि वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन के लिए सरकार तैयार है, सरकार बिल लाना चाहती है, बट है कहाँ? उसका प्रपोजल कौन दिया? उसका अभी तक बताया कि सरकार की तरफ से कोई उसका आधिकारिक पुष्टि नहीं की गई। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कई नेताओं ने भी इसकी पुष्टि करने से इनकार किया। तो सवाल ये उठता है कि जब तक चीजें पीपुल डोमेन में आधिकारिक तौर पर आ नहीं जाती, उस पर कोई भी प्रतिक्रिया हमें लगता है कि अनमैच्योर्ड हो जाएगा, अपरिपक्वता पूर्ण हो जाएगा। अगर सामने आएगा तो सवाल जो होगा, क्योंकि आप जानते हैं कि राष्ट्र के अंदर में कई राज्य हैं जिनके चुनाव 1 साल पहले, 6 माह पहले हुए हैं, उनको कैसे आप निपटेंगे, कैसे एक साथ करेंगे, संवैधानिक अड़चने आएगी कि नहीं आएगी, ये कई सवाल हैं जो सामने आकर के खड़ा होगा। लेकिन उन सवालों से ठीक है आप वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन की बात कर रहे हैं, पर इस देश के अंदर में वन नेशन वन टैरिफ की बात होनी चाहिए। आप देखिए कि बिजली के सवाल पर भिन्न भिन्न राज्य अलग अलग समस्याओं से जूझते हैं, तो यह भी एक सवाल सामने खड़ा है। लेकिन अगर आप करना चाहते हैं तो इसका एक ब्लूप्रिंट आना चाहिए देश के सामने, सरकार को बतानी चाहिए। लेकिन सरकार ने अभी तक इस पर अपनी कोई प्रतिक्रिया ही नहीं दी है, इसलिए मैं इसको हेडलाइन मैनेजमेंट मानता हूँ।
All right, Shakti Singh from the RJD, thank you for joining us. So the RJD essentially saying that the idea may be something that will be beneficial, but it's very difficult to carry out, and the government needs to come out and clearly state how it proposes to do this. You are watching Republic TV, and we'll continue to bring you the latest on this. Just to tell our viewers that